So, good morning, everyone here today, and everyone joining virtually across the country. Today, I'm presenting from the land of the Nguyen people. So, my name is Selena, I'm a National Vice President of Professional Development at SONA, the Student Organised Network of Architecture, the leading student body of the Australian Institute of Architects. And I'm one of the creative directors for the Super Studio Brief this year, alongside my co-creative directors, Chloe and Joel from Alcorn Middleton. We'll be able to hear from them shortly. So just to start, we acknowledge the First Nations peoples as the traditional custodians of the lands, waters, and skies of the continent now called Australia. We express our gratitude to their elders and knowledge holders whose wisdom, actions, and knowledge have kept culture alive. We recognize First Nations peoples as the first architects and builders, and we appreciate their continuing work on country from pre-invasion times to contemporary First Nations architects, and respect their rights to continue to care for country. So Super Studio has provided students with an opportunity to be really imaginative and serious-minded, romantic, speculative about design, and we have a long history of dealing with uncertainty. So Super Studio is a way to take architectural ideas and explore these relationships between people and place. I'm really excited to see all the presentations today. We wouldn't have Super Studio without our national partner, Auspex. I want to thank Auspex for sponsoring again Super Studio this year, and your support for the program is very much appreciated. I'd like to invite Alistair from Auspex to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody from around the country. I'll be short and sweet so we can get to the main reason why we're here. How exciting to be hearing about the announcement of the best of the best. Congratulations to all the participants, all the state winners. What a great coming together of the next wave of architecture in Australia. An absolute massive thanks to the AIA, to Sonar, all the Sonar reps who have created such a great response this year, especially to Chloe, Joel and Selena for producing such a unique brief. I was unfortunately not able to attend the presentations, but from what I've heard from the rest of the Auspex team who attended, it was sensational and always a great evening of presentations. And record numbers in all states. So, just really, really well done. I speak on behalf of the whole Auspex team from around the country when I say we genuinely enjoy this event and the collaboration between the AIA and Sonar. It's brilliant. It's really, really exciting to be involved. And as I've always said, I genuinely see it as the next wave. You are the next wave. You are the John Wardles of the future. A truly creative juice flowing event. I actually told my 9-year-old what I was doing this morning, and she wanted to wag school to watch it, which I said absolutely not. So that's all from me. Good luck to everyone, and on to the presentations and the big announcement. Well done, everybody.
Thank you so much, Alistair. I think I have a tear in my eye. Thank you. Yeah, Alistair's completely correct. We had record-breaking numbers this year. So 81 teams, 221 participants, 73 volunteers. Huge round of applause to everyone. This year, we want to say a huge thank you to all teams and a special mention to all the chapter winners and runner-ups as well for your very impressive submissions. The website will be updated with all the projects in the coming weeks. So thank you to everyone who are the design talk speakers and to the architectural practices who are hosting these office immersions for our lucky winners across the state. Thank you to our mentors for their input and their guidance as well. We hope you got something out of it. Thank you to our jury in each state for their effort into watching and reviewing all the amazing submissions. You guys are very lucky because the national jury didn't get to watch all of them, so I hope you enjoyed that as well. And also to the creative directors, Chloe, Joel, and myself. Chloe, Joel, and I have worked very hard to write and refine this year's brief, so thank you so much for their input, getting the brief to where it is today. And we're really delighted and deeply impressed as well by the quality of submissions. So I'll just quickly say that Alcorn Middleton is the practice based in Brisbane, design office working across architecture, interiors, and concept-led projects, known for very rigorous yet intuitive approaches to the work. Chloe and Joel lead a practice that champions design as thoughtful, exploratory act, responsive to people, place, and evolving conditions of contemporary life. Their Queensland office creates purposeful, enduring spaces across private and commercial projects of all scales, guided by a design ethos that's agile, collaborative, and conceptually driven. This diverse portfolio works locally and abroad, and they continue to explore how meaningful design can enrich everyday and the conceptual. So very, very exciting to have them on the team, but also they've been the brains trust to such a valuable competition as well. So today we'll be deciding on the national winner of who'll be receiving $3,000, and to the winning team, you'll be contacted by the Institute to receive your prize. This year, we are excited to open up this part of the competition to allow more students to see and hear from teams across different chapters. And so I'll start by handing the mic over to our ACT team, Barton Taylor. Are you guys on the line?
Yep, just here.
Awesome. Hello. All right, I'll just do the slides for you, but you're welcome to start.
Thank you.
I'll just go a bit of housekeeping. You have 5 minutes to present. I'll give you a 5-minute warning, and then you have 5 minutes of question time and feedback. And that's for all the presentations.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your time today. So I explored the brief through a lens of human condition, our initial reactions to the unknowns, our intrinsic fear and curiosity. What are these things? Why are they here? And what do they mean? We search for meaning, often through forms of religion and science. The monoliths become a common denominator. Every continent, every capital city, the anchors and the fragments are the great equalizer. Next slide, sorry. Thank you. The world's leaders assemble a team of the greatest scientific minds from all over the world. They set up labs at each anchor and fragment, the hive. A subterranean research lab constructed underground due to the incessant buzzing and humming of the stillfall above that created a near impossible to work in hostile environment. Each lab consists of a series of domes, each its own research pod as a part of the collective hub. Scattered above each hive are the shards, an interconnected network of antennas used to study and monitor the monoliths, as well as communicate between each lab by transmitting sonar, radar, and radio frequencies, sleek, chromed, and dangerous. Though the monoliths aided in easing global tensions, this is no utopia. Where there are people, there is a way to make a profit. The capitalist decides to monetize the stillfall. A pod is set up within, seemingly ready to float away if it weren't for the large chains that tether it to the ground. A deprivation tank that people will pay outrageous sums of money in order to attend a form of pilgrimage or retreat to the monoliths and experience a form of meditation within the tethered. Next slide. With each monolith clearing from 100 to 900 square meters at each site, located in some of the most densely populated areas on Earth, our need for housing becomes even greater. How does Canberra respond? Going back to our roots of a garden city, utilising and enhancing the natural resources available to us. Bricks are once again produced within the city from the surrounding clay. An apartment block is constructed to appreciate the natural amenities we are fortunate to have. Each balcony adorned with a screen of concrete, perforated with the recycled concrete and steel water pipes and conduits dug up following the fragment's disruption. Each gust of wind, every birdsong is amplified through the screens, keeping the score of our city and creating a stronger connection to the land and surrounds. In an era of new scientific and religious exploration, the monoliths themselves have brought on a form of a second renaissance. The apartment building itself contains nods to both Gothic and Renaissance architecture, a symmetrical square plan, an oculus for each apartment reminiscent of a rose window, and the resurrection of the idealism of classical geometries, and perhaps subconsciously, the mimicry of the monoliths themselves in the form of a large, tall slab of building. Each structure responds to the human senses. Keeping score strengthens our connection to the land through our sense of hearing. The hive and the shards respond to that imperceptible sense of touch, the universe vibrating in currents around you. A man-made response to the feeling of unease that the monoliths and the stillfall produce. The tethered is a response not to a specific sense, but instead to the deprivation or lack of senses. What do you feel? What do you focus on when you have nothing but your own mind to occupy yourself? The monolith condition excited the fear and curiosity within society on a global scale, becoming a great equalizer and, in turn, forming a new industry, an opportunity for exploration in scientific, religious, anthropological, and capitalistic endeavors, reducing global conflicts as well as strengthening the economies of those poorer nations and cities with the birth of scientific research hubs and tourism through pilgrimage and new attractions. What could have been a disaster and may have initially seemed a sign of the end of the world became a new period of thought and global interconnectedness. Thank you for listening.
Well done.
Well done,
Chloe
Barton.
and Joel, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I really liked, I guess, the heightened senses. You really tuned in on that. And even that diagram, it sort of reminds me of a bit like a harmonica. How you've kind of, capturing that, I guess, the sounds and things. So you've really created a world, which is exactly what we were sort of after. I guess, a question to you. Could you just further, because I really like the idea on the tethered, could you just further tell us a little bit more on that? That's in the stillfall, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah. So it's in the stillfall, I think there was about a third of the Earth's gravity.
Yes.
And almost no light within. So somebody decided to monetize that and profit off of that, and created a sort of pod for people to go and experience something similar to a deprivation tank.
Fantastic.
Right. And Barton, where have you decided to locate this? Unless I missed that in the literature that you just read. Did you have this?
The deprivation tank.
Yeah, or where was this, I guess, this tower and then the stillfall sort of located? Did you have
So the deprivation tank is located at one of the anchors at the larger ones. I didn't have a specific location in mind in terms of an area. I sort of felt as though that sort of capitalizing idea is actually found all over the world, so it could pop up at any of the anchors itself.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Well done. Such a unique narrative and experience that you've explored. Good job. All right.
Thank you.
Shall we head on to the next one? I will just quickly say that after each of the presentations, we'll be spending some time as a national jury to deliberate. So it'll be like 10 minutes. We'll take a short break and then we'll come back to announce the winner. All right. Our next team is Radical Frugal from New South Wales. Are you guys there?
Hi, yes, we are.
Awesome. Take it away.
Yes.
First up, I love the name.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Hi, so we are Radical Frugal. My name is Kien from USIT.
I'm Edwina from USIT. I'm Yanni from UNSU.
Okay.
Future of architecture is not about resisting nature, but listening to it. Nature is destined to reclaim its place and emerge from our concrete desert, and from our destruction, our culture and way of living have no choice but to welcome symbiosis. This narrative is written in the form of a scientific report from the first person's perspective of a CSIRO worker, detailing where natural happenstance changes the way of living forever. Entry number 1, Gadigal Land, New Year's Eve. The 2050 net zero carbon goal has long failed. The harbour is half under the water. As the surge rolls in, the city shudders in its depth. We all toast the end of a decade and the end of a future. In the lab, air is dim. A bottle slips, breaks. The vial, specimen BM1, hisses on contact with synthetic tile. Bubbles. Entry number 2. Lab incident report. BM1 was engineered to decompose concrete at hyperspeed and sequester airborne carbon. It was to restore the land back to a lost time, a time where people, animals, and land were one. Lightning struck, fire, flame, perfect condition. Mutation accelerates. We do everything we can, nothing holds. It's reached the ceiling, crawled through the vents. It feeds, concrete, glass, rebar, all gone in its wake.
Entry number 3, public. The plant wears towers like skin on old bones. Fire didn't kill, it bloomed like eucalyptus, dark as Fanta black. Drawn in by a forgotten connection, the public calls it the anchor. Entry number 4, ritual. Within the human DNA, a connection to country awoken. People came without instruction, photos of the dead, letters never sent, ash cradle in glass. Some came to mourn, others to let go. Ritual began within us, and we weren't the one who started. And the next slide, please. Entry number 5, still 4. Anomalies locked, roots jetted northeast, angled 45 degrees. The air is warm like breath held close. People gather in silent shadow. Roots now replace failed civic system with something living. Slides, paths formed, pilgrims walk it. They listen and all meet again at the anchor.
Entry 6, ACT. Spowers are detected in Canberra groundwater. Origin, anchor root system. New growth visible near the Parliament ruins, named fragment. Each time the anchor burns, the fragment pulses, like Guinea lilies. The fragments are like houses, pushes through the smoke sky. A call, a path home. Entry 7, fire. Every year we return. We gather, burn. Ash drift down, soft as moth. Watch them fail. From that dust, green return. Private note. I see it now. It's sanctuary, intimate, a grief no longer hidden. People pray here, meet here, sleep in its shade. Warm, sleep in its shade. The anchor was never built. It's grew. From fear and fire, from everything we couldn't hold. And here, in the still city, the fire does more than burn. It's become care. The soil does more than wait. It begins again. And the people, if only for a moment, remember they are alive. An era of listening to the land. Thank you.
That's the end of the station.
Well done, team. So engaging as a presentation. Flowed really smoothly. One of the jurors' comments from you guys said that it sounded like a rap. And honestly, I think it's great. Well done. Very consistent graphic language as well. Chloe and Joel, comments?
I just really love how you told a story, and I guess, really started how, I guess, the idea was born. I think it's so unique how you've approached it, essentially as a seed, and how this the monolith actually came about. And what I think is quite special too is the shape that it took as well, because we did want people to kind of explore beyond what that could actually look like. And I think that you guys have done that really uniquely, and you can see with the still fall there as well, that shape that it took, that perfect shadow as well. I just think it's fantastic how you've done that, and I really encourage you, like, from here on, with all your projects, start from the beginning. It's like when we explain to our clients, like walking through a house that we've designed, we literally start from the front door and make our way through as if you're experiencing each one of those, that progression. So I really commend how you've kind of presented your scheme in that sort of fashion.
Yeah, so that linear fashion, I think, has really helped you guys to tell a very strong narrative, which is what we were after. And again, the visuals, like Senlina and Joel have said, they're pretty amazing. And the way that you've just been able to stitch that together through both panels, you know, like it's very cohesive. You can tell it's from the same team, you know, like you guys are all working together. And it's just fantastic to see how, you know, wonderfully creative you guys got with this response to the brief. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. I think your team was also unique in that you addressed the network interactions.
Yes, yeah.
Coming from the monolith, we definitely noticed that. That was, special about your submission. So thank you guys and well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, sorry. I think you guys read this, right? Yes, you did. Okay.
Yeah, that was really quite fun to reminded me
Yeah.
of like a script you'd see on a game, a video game or something like that. So
Like a log.
yeah, like a log. It was really fun.
Awesome. Next team is Queensland KINETIC. Are you guys online?
Hi.
Hello.
Awesome. Take it away.
The anchors are made of memories. People say they come from deep within the earth, where the echoes of millions of years are stored. From the formation of continents to the building of civilizations, from ice ages to wars waged. They have appeared in cities at the densest concentration of memories. When you exit the world, you enter the stillfall, a dynamic, spaceless haze, where memories gently envelop you like water. You can pass through them, touch them, and relive the past. Sights, sounds, people, languages, the earth. The surfacing of the anchors has urged the world to revisit the histories of our cities.
Next slide, please. When certainty disappears, how do we adapt? When ritual breaks, how do we begin again? Picture yourselves on a disappearing island, in this case, the island of Kiribati. Due to its unique form and geography, Kiribati was bound to sink. Millions of years ago, volcanoes rose from the Pacific seafloor, towering above the waves. As they slowly sank back into the ocean, coral polyps built reefs around their shores, forming rings that enclosed shallow lagoons. These rings became atolls, slender strips of sand and coral rubble, never more than 3 meters above sea level. For centuries, the people of Kiribati have lived on these fragile shores, fishing the lagoons, planting crops in thin soil, and navigating by stars. But the atoll's beauty is also their weakness. Born from the sea, they are destined to return to it. Betio Island, an island part of Kiribati, disappeared under the ocean not long after the surfacing. However, global warming accelerated the rising of sea level. Kiribati made efforts to relocate their people or even go digital, but their connection to the island was almost entirely severed. Everything changed when a fragment surfaced in the center of Betio Island on the Tarawa Atoll of Kiribati. The fragment rescued the nation from becoming forgotten history. They embraced the reflective experience of the stillfall, and now they rebuild. The people of the island learned what to do and what not to do to generate sustainable construction, agriculture, and community structures. New elevated dwellings branch off of the stillfall like veins from a heart, a growing organism.
Looking forward, the reception of the anchors in Singapore could not be any more different. In Singapore, they've virtually abandoned all inside the stillfall of the mega monolith. Supposedly, at the time of the surfacing, people would wander in it for days, entranced by memories which failed to be passed on through conversation between parents and children. See, it's a waste of time, some said. We don't want our city turning into a jungle again. Their reasons for walking away are understandable, but the question lingers. What pieces of the past have been sacrificed in 100 years of rapid change? In typical Singapore fashion, the city was quick to deem the stillfall as dead space, offering no service to the public, whilst developers explored the possibilities of the monolith structure. The stories evoked by the stillfall were quickly placed behind barriers, serving only as motivation to continue pushing forward. Here, the monolith becomes less of a monument of memory, but rather a force to propel the nation toward what lies ahead.
Previous slide, please. In every place around the globe, Kiribati, Singapore, and here, we inherit the memories of the places we inhabit. The lessons of the past, learned over thousands of years by those before, hold critical knowledge for responding to present and future conditions of that place. The surfacing of the anchors taught that every place and every person has a different relationship to the region and its stored history. Our ability to reflect on the past, regardless of whether it is painful or joyful, and to sit in past truths is where the value of memory lies, and how we interpret it unequivocally shapes our futures. Thank you.
Well done, team. It's incredible. We really loved how sensitively you had responded to the context. I think even just listening to the presentation, you got the impression that you understood these places well. And I think that comes across in how you respond through the monolith as well. So yeah, it was really strong in terms of place and context. Well done.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I particularly liked how emotive this project is. You know, you can see the kind of emotions that you were trying to sort of capture there, and I think you've done that amazingly. Like, if I'm to look at these sort of two images here, it did take us a little bit to understand it, but then when it finally, you know, dawned on us, it was amazing. Like the left told more so than the right, but then we made the connection between the two. It's almost like this projection screen of memories and things. So you know, I would love to see like this project continue even further, you know, to see more about it, because I think there's just so much, you know, energy put towards it with its messaging. But fantastic with the visuals.
Yeah, and you can really see that there was a sensitive issue that you guys, you know, held really close to you, and you explored that through this brief, which was something that, you know, we weren't really expecting, but it was fantastic to see how you applied sort of, you know, a real world issue, you know, to this sort of futuristic brief for the competition. And yeah, the way that you're able to relay all of that information quite succinctly was great to see, especially, yeah, the use of the image on the left was very powerful, like quite simple, but very powerful and evocative in the way that you wanted to tell your story. So saying that the stillfall was sort of using, you know, that past history and the shared sort of truths sort of coming into, you know, into light, and that poor, you know, island that was sinking, actually learning from all of that. So I think that was a really lovely way to utilize the stillfall in a sort of positive light. So yeah, well done.
And I think you know, just the power of, you know, visuals to kind of let other people kind of, you know, create their own, let their own imagination run wild. So Senleda, if you go to the second page there as well, like this one on the left, for instance, you know, that really drew me in, you know, as well as the words about everyone turning to that stillfall for those sort of memories and that connection. I found that was a really strong image that sort of spoke to me.
Yeah, and again, that contrast, I think, between the two cities. So like the smaller city being the focus, but then Singapore being the larger city as the contrast was really useful. And that's, I think, what we were trying to get you guys to understand, is using those two differences to really play on each other, and how that would actually affect two different places geographically. So that was great to see.
Yeah, everywhere would respond differently. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, you really highlighted that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well done, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Queensland. All right, and the next team we have is from South Australia, Arabesque. Are you
Hello.
online? Great.
Yes. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sound
Yeah,
great.
okay, cool. Okay. 2091. And so, with all 7 monoliths in place, the world succumbed to an easy sense of being, pure existence, a state of nothingness. And when the last fragment lands, the world dissolves into a state older than memory. Chaos, the origin of all things, a primordial void from which everything emerged, as the ancient Romans believed. Adelaide, 2071. This is not resistance. This is what comes after forgetting. After all the others had fallen, the final monolith appeared off the shore of Holdfast Bay. No one reacted, no one resisted. The city did not fight. Australia adapted surprisingly fast to the monolith condition, for although nothing is permanent now and memory has faded, country is still alive. It hears, feels, and remembers just as it always has, in its dream times and water stories. People found different ways of wayfinding, speaking their memories to the sea. Here, the strange gravity of the monolith caused water to behave differently, as if reflecting the very stories it had been told. The water remembers, whispering to the stillfall the dreamtime stories of our ancestors, reflected for all or none to see. Here we become part of the tide. No resistance, no permanence, just existence. The 6 continents, 2063 to 2068. Before the loss of resistance caused by the 7th monolith in Australia, our 6 other continents each lost elements dear to our human condition. The monolith condition in Asia brought the loss of meaning, in Africa the loss of community, in North America the loss of autonomy, South America the loss of rhythm, Antarctica the loss of time, and Europe the loss of memory. There were those who tried to resist, but this only delayed the inevitable. But with the loss of meaning comes new meaning. Humans always learn to adapt. As humans were drawn to the inevitable pull of the stillfall, and with it the fading of reality, new lifestyles were created, blending fragments of old practices with the new and the innate. Language became fragmented, memoryless families greeted each other anew each sunrise. The monoliths which people considered fragments of the future cut off, the hum of electricity replaced by the hum of the monolith. Next page, please. Rome 2062. Rome was the first to fall, not turned to ruins by destruction, but worse still, to ruins of the mind, to nothing but a myth. That was the destruction caused by the monolith. Then as memory collapsed, we began to rebuild. The world of those that are drawn to the stillfall reset every 7 days, fading into nothing. Their efforts became meaningless, but it did not matter, for they did not remember. Everything became inaudible and blurred outside the stillfall. Perhaps Rome still existed. We would never know. Rome 2061. This monolith loomed hundreds of meters high, visible all throughout the city. From its northeastern face stretched a void of darkness which researchers named the Stillfall, a shadow unaffected by any conditions. In the early days, scientists scrambled to give some meaning to this, associating it with the Earth's gravitational or magnetic fields which anchored the altered physics of the Stillfall, even associating with that of Mars. At first, people were curious. Perhaps these towers could be used to capture electricity. Perhaps they housed some unknown power. Some dug, some hacked at it with no avail. Eventually, as is the case with anything, humans began to fight and war broke out. They fought and fought until more and more monoliths landed, bringing with them the gradual fading of everything. They fought and fought until they forgot what they were fighting for. Yes, the monolith erased memory and turned Rome into nothing more than a myth. And you have heard of other such myths before. The city of Atlantis drowned under its own pride and abundance. The city of Babylon, who reached too high and was scattered by language. Thus Rome, the city who believed in eternity, was bound to endure the same fate. Human condition. Perhaps this is no punishment. Perhaps this is the God's way of saving us from ourselves. Perhaps all that is solid does melt into air. Rome 117 AD. Rome is at the height of its power. It spans over vast territories including Britain in the west, Mesopotamia in the east, and parts of North Africa. It is powered, sacred, universal. It believes that it is the eternal city, because as the prophecy says, when Rome falls, so falls the world. Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, amazing.
This is
Thank
an incredible body of work. Colin, Joel, did
Thank
you want
you.
to start?
Yeah, what I really loved about this one is the historical account of events, how you actually projected in the future and started from there first and then wound back. It really does feel like these were actual events in the way that you've kind of told it. Just I guess the depth that you put to each one of these sort of images, but just the visuals as well are just absolutely incredible. Don't stop doing that. It's so powerful, like the black and the white. Sinlena, can you go to the slide before? Yeah, the image. I can tell that you really understood the brief, but also listened to some of our talks as well. I can see that in that bottom left-hand corner there, just with how you kind of showed the network so creatively. Even thinking sort of galactically a little bit, just to kind of show that network. I think that's a really unique way that you've kind of told that, and that each I guess monolith has its own story attached, which I found quite fantastic. It's almost like Roman gods or something, the way that you've kind of devised that. So
yeah, it was fantastic. The visual nature of your presentation is so succinct. You can really tell that you put a lot of effort into thinking about how you wanted to represent things, but even highlighting the difference in that bottom left image, just being the difference in color to show, I guess, the fragment in monoliths there, just to highlight, to us, that was something that you really wanted us to focus on. But yeah, it's fantastic how globally and I guess, galactically and universally you were thinking about the monolith condition. It was really great to see you explore that. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, no, well done. It's incredible just to see how you captured the magnitude of the influence of the monolith. And I think to be able to communicate that in an evocative and compelling way is really tough. And we've set quite a difficult challenge. So well done. And your graphics are beautiful. We were saying it could be like a tattoo, the line work. That's gorgeous. Well done. All right, the next team is from Tassie, Luke, Zach, and Jacob. Are you guys available?
Hello. Hello.
Awesome. Take it away.
Let's be honest. We don't know what the monolith is.
Oh, no.
It doesn't speak. It doesn't move. It doesn't really do anything. But we do. We panic. We worship. We speculate and we build. Humanity, in all its infinite insecurity, just can't handle the unknown. Instead of letting the monolith just be, we turn it into a symbol, a god, a product, a postcard. That's why we call this project False Idols. The monolith isn't the focus of this story. We are. In our proposition, we explore this absurd, almost tragic reflex, our need to make meaning from the meaningless, to fill the void, to create rituals for the unknowable, in a futile attempt to understand, explain, and control.
Next slide. We explored this through the fabricated context of two cities, Sydney, an expansive engine of capital, and Hobart, a local context here in Tasmania. Quiet, terrible weather, and a subtle propensity for cultish worship and pagan ritual. In Sydney, the monolith becomes a real estate event. Gravity change? Great, let's sell the air. The monolith isn't a thing to be feared, but leveraged. Within weeks, developers swarm, chasing proximity, air rights, and the chance to own and sell the new best view. Meanwhile, in Hobart, the fragment emerges from the water in the Brook Street Pier, and the populace loses their shit in reverence. In mimicry of the monolith, they develop rituals of stillness, muted murmurs, and quiet contemplation. Because if something can't be explained, it must be sacred. Both cities create architecture in response to their beliefs, not in the monolith itself, but in what they need it to mean. At the heart of this project is the logic that architecture is a feedback loop between people and experience, a recursive design logic positing that collective thought forms a ritual, which in turn manifests in built form then facilitates further ritual, and that ritual subsequently shapes future collective thought. In order to map and exemplify this loop, we developed our own language of patterns, developed using a specific site-specific language inspired by Christopher Alexander's seminal work, Pattern Language, a set of recurring spatial tropes that reflect this relationship between people, architecture, experience, and the built environment. Next slide, please. Occurring in Sydney, capital, consumption, and control are taking place. Pattern 1 sees the people embracing the void. Seeing becomes owning. Don't understand the monolith? At least you can build a penthouse with a view of it. Architecture becomes an ocular device, a daily performance of proximity and prestige. The second pattern of aspiration and proximity means that the higher you live, the closer you are to the truth. Well, at least that's the myth. The city reorients around the monolith. Climbing stairs becomes a ritual of class. Even your elevation becomes branding. Pattern 3 sees the effects of consumer promenades. Public space disappears, replaced by curated corridors of controlled movement and consumption. Developers act quickly to orchestrate ideals of a planned urban perfection, from the top down rather than the bottom up, smoothing out public spaces that people occupy, giving a false sense of freedom. Meanwhile, the events happening in Hobart see reverence, ritual, and retreat settling in. Pattern 1 of congregation. In the shadow of the fragment, people gather in silence, not to speak, not to act, but to feel like they're part of something bigger. Architecture embraces without enclosing. It becomes a vessel for collective stillness. Pattern 2 sees the effects of ascension. Movement becomes meaning. People walk not to get somewhere, but to shed ego, fear, and noise. The path spirals gently, the ritual of doing something that means nothing but feels sacred. And lastly, the third pattern of contemplation holds a space of darkness, silence, and anti-stimulation. No programming, no signage, no branding. You take off your shoes, you enter alone. The building whispers, don't know, don't speak, just be.
In both cities, the monolith does nothing, and yet everything changes. We can't accept the void, so we build cathedrals around it, or skyscrapers, or shopping centres. Our proposition is a reflection of this, both reverent and ridiculous, sacred and cynical. A theatre of human response scripted by fear, desire, and the constant urge to make sense of the unknown. False Idols is a mirror. What you see in it says more about you than it ever did about the monolith.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, team. I can see you have false idols written on the wall behind you.
Oh, right.
That's great. You've created such a compelling story for both cities. And I think the way that you've told that story creates almost like a dystopic reality for both. So again, that world building and fully diving into speculative work is really impressive. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's fantastic seeing the contrast between the location of the fragments and the anchors, you know, between the two cities. So I think doing that again really highlights, I guess, the nature of the monolith condition and how different cities would react. And I guess, you know, even the way that you guys actually I won't say embellished, like that's probably not the right word, but the way that you guys actually built on the stillfall or on the anchors was really great to see, like, you know, that architectural intent in sort of a bit more of a stylistic or formed way. So yeah, that was really exciting to see that response.
Yeah, what I really liked is that you did create an architecture out of all this. You know, like I think, like Chloe was sort of saying, with the stillfall that you know that's created, that would be such a, you know, strange experience to to a city and how you've kind of used that and created an architecture out of that. And those two different cities, how they would have different stories and different meanings and a cultural vibe around what that provides for that city. But I really like the way that you've also incorporated like the monetary aspect to this, which is really quite unique. It really feels like a real scenario, that this whole sort of false idols. It feels kind of believable in a lot of ways. And with the imagery, I think it was really powerful how you've linked each along with the text and things through color. I thought that was just a really unique and easy way to identify what was appropriate to each. And I guess that's again something that we wanted to, and I'm seeing it in a lot of these presentations, just how, by restraining that sort of palette, how powerful that can be to get people like ourselves on the other side to understand what you're trying to put forward. And the further we zoomed in on some of these images on the second page, even though the first was really strong and powerful, each one of those has, meaning in there as well, as you kind of zoom closer. So well done. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Well done, team. And our next one is from Victoria. Sapiens. You guys online?
Can you hear us?
Awesome. Yes, I can hear you guys. Great.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm Adelina.
And I'm Pride, and we're Sapiens.
Humans have always been drawn to the unknown. What lies beyond, and perhaps how could it benefit an individual, a village, a nation, or the world? It becomes then a conquest for domination. Who owns the unknown? And must it belong to someone? Our project, Beneath the Weight of Progress, takes off where this question starts. Manila Bay, Philippines, has been conquered by the monolith. Or so one thinks. The fragment hums ripple through the water like a low roar, tangible in your chest if you stand close. No one has yet tried to build on this one. No cranes, no deadlines, just people sitting, recharging from its resonic melody. It glows at night, soft and opaque, and something about it makes you want to be quiet. I heard stories about the human spirit, and maybe now I'm living in it. In Manila, we tried higher, faster, and louder. In Melbourne, they harnessed the power of silence. What once lay dormant and inert unleashed a new beginning for their city. So we followed in their footsteps. A fragment that we use to give our homes life, what sustains the structure. The monolith, a father, and the fragment almost maternal like a light.
I live at the base of the monolith. Not the poetic kind of base, not origin or foundation. I mean the literal base, concrete, rebar, and rust. Where the light barely reaches and the wind stinks of oil and ambition. This place I call home. It's stacked, steel containers, patched roof, families living 5 to a room. We're built sideways, vertical and everywhere, down here, because we are the foundation. But every day, when I finish laying bricks or welding beams, I look up. And above me, a black vision becomes indistinguishable amongst the amalgamation of homes like a vertical dream.
Tier after tier, floor after floor. That's what we all want, right? Space and life. The freedom to breathe without choking on it. Doesn't matter if you're a broker, a poet, a cook, or someone like me. One thing is constant. It's competition, it's hierarchy, and it's power. It's watching your neighbor get promoted to a higher floor while you're stuck in the dust, but even the dust leaves you behind. And yet, our pride remains because we built this city. The towers, the temples, the quiet spaces up top where they talk about ritual and meaning, we carried those stones. We poured the foundations. We bled into the bones of this place. My faith strengthens these walls, like my neighbor and his neighbor, and the neighbors who will look at us as a mere memory. As time progressed, the monolith itself began to disperse, leaving behind a cavity within a vertical city, yet the tower evolves. We are bound together by an internal web, interconnected network of circulation, utilities, and communal spaces, a mangled mess that poetically reflects the lives of the inhabitants who live there.
This is a battle between power and pace, construction and restraint. I used to think sacredness was found in cathedrals or temples, but now I think it's found in not choosing to build. The monolith changed us, or maybe it just showed us who we already were. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, team.
Yeah, good job.
Great job and beautiful graphics, Chloe and Joel.
Yeah, if you can go to the first image there. Yeah. The wobbling of the buildings. Could someone just quickly explain that really quick?
Yeah, so the wobbling in the buildings is like the hum, the ripples through the city. And so we wanted to see how to best represent that. And so by, curving all of the buildings, you can see it. And also the noise around the whole poster, like the presentation, is like everyone's experiencing it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We definitely picked that up. That was, I think, really unique in how you sort of told that. Really fun as well. So we definitely commend you on exploring that kind of weird experience that would happen as you enter
The still fall.
the still fall, something so so different to the outside. And the visuals were just absolutely incredible. I think Senlina had some questions as to how did you do that?
But yeah, the originality and the idea is, it's really great to see, how you interpreted the brief, but even just how you conveyed that visually is just, really quite captivating. And again, using the limited, I guess, color blocking and contrast of colors just to really highlight or draw our attention to certain aspects is a really good use of that design tool.
I just had a question about, this slide. Did you want to talk to this at all? Because I didn't show it.
Well, this is when we were in our initial phases of designing. We kind of had an idea from the very start that we wanted to conquer the monolith, because we find that within human nature and history repeating itself, that humans have this adaptability to just rebuild and to conquer or to colonize and take control. And so these are like our drawings to see how we could best represent that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something that we really wanted to get people to explore, not only to explore both, like the stillfall and the monolith, and not just go one or the other. So I think the way that you've kind of again designed around the monolith and incorporated that as part of the hero as well, and that polar opposite experience that happens in the stillfall as well. So we really commend you on telling that sort of story.
Yeah, and even these, I know that these are attachments or appendages to your actual submission, but these are always great to see. Obviously, if this was a longer competition or even like a design for university, you'd obviously have this sort of littered throughout or, in the early stages. So yeah, we appreciate you including, just the initial thinking, which, really helps build that story for us. So yeah, it was great to see just how you were visually thinking about these ideas. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. All right. Beck from WA, are you online?
I sure am.
Great, take it away.
Cool. So, I'm sure, like many others, when I first approached this brief, I found it really difficult to imagine how the arrival of a monolith in another time could reshape life on Earth. But the more I began to think about it, the more I realized this wasn't that speculative at all. The arrival of a dominant, unknowable force of an unknown origin Claiming land without consent and permanently altering people's relationships to that land is not science fiction, it's our history. So I started with a proposition. What happens when the symbols of colonisation, once sacred and protected, become the sites of colonisation themselves? We already know what follows. Some histories are erased while others are preserved. Australian history tells the story of the systemic destruction of sacred Aboriginal sites while simultaneously upholding colonial-era architecture, the Federation Home, for example, as objects of reverence. Through tight planning controls, heritage overlays, we preserve these structures not just for their form, but for their power and history they represent. By 2061, I imagine Perth's urban morphology reflects these legacies. The WA government is keen to shake Perth's title as the world's longest city and has finally set a hard boundary on outward growth. Infill becomes the imperative. Most of the metropolitan area adapts, densifying, subdividing, and transforming, but some suburbs remain untouched. Tightly held, historically affluent, and politically protected, these areas still resemble the city of 2025 and even 1925. Street character is a proxy for exclusion, and heritage becomes these residents' shield against change. When the fragment lands in the suburb of Mount Lawley, the response is not architectural, it's psychological. The WA government, parochial as ever, encourages residents to leave. Fear spreads, and at the same time, the mega monolith descends into Sydney Cove, the symbolic site of British settlement. This coincidence is too strong for many to ignore, and some read this as a cosmic reversal. In Perth, the streets around the fragment become briefly abandoned, and into that vacuum move the people who have long been locked out of the housing system: artists, students, young families, migrants, and precariously housed communities. Planning regulations collapse. Building codes are no longer enforceable or even that relevant. With reduced gravity and changes in weather, construction becomes radical and expressive. Next slide, please. These Federation houses are not restored, they're reprogrammed. The single-family typology collapses. Instead, each home becomes the ground floor of a new kind of vertical colony. Living spaces made from salvaged sheds, fencing, pool houses, and granny flats are stacked above and between former houses, aided by reduced gravity around the monolith. Privacy is handled not with walls, but through layering. At the centre of each cluster are sleeping and dressing zones shielded by layers of tennis nets, wrought iron gates, latticework, and curtains. These materials, once purely decorative, now serve structural or spatial purposes. Fretwork becomes balustrading, turned timber posts become load-bearing supports. Walls are no longer necessary for climate control, there's less rain and wind, so they're used to modulate social space. Each residential floor is linked together via ropes and pulleys, transporting both materials and residents between levels without disrupting others. Families occupy horizontal bands, not vertical units, allowing new levels to be added above without disturbing those below. Every added element is painted a uniform neon green. This green is synthetic and garish, everything Federation architecture is not. But in the absence of plant life near the monolith, green becomes the missing colour, one that must be reinserted. The colour helps the stacked additions read as a single volume, a cohesive colony growing from fractured remains. And then at the base of the monolith is the stillfall. Within this zone, the laws of nature and technology break down, light is weak, gravity is minimal, and digital systems fail. The stillfall can't be easily inhabited, so instead it becomes ritualised. History shows that when new power arrives, it is legitimised through symbols. Cities erect statues, monuments, and places and name them after settlers and their monarchs. We have plenty here: Kings Park in Perth, Queen Street in Brisbane, or Port Phillip in Melbourne. The new colony is no different. It builds its own mythology. The stillfall becomes a shrine, a gaudy communal stage lit by Vegas-style signage and analogue wayfinding. Neon signs guide pilgrims through a journey of thanksgiving. The reverence is ironic and performative, but it's real. 1 week for this project was not enough time to fully engage with the complex violence of colonisation. So instead, this project engages with its symbolic aftermath. The way built forms, particularly those preserved through state power, can be ruptured, stripped of their authority, and reassembled. Thank you.
Well done, Beck.
Yeah, fantastic, Beck. Thank you.
Fantastic effort. Tackled a really large and difficult topic. Oh, sorry, has my screen gone black?
Yep.
Not sure what happened. Chloe and Joel, did you want to comment? I can bring it back. Oh, it's back. Great. Yeah, I think it was a really sensitive response and a lot of depth. I know you said it was only a week, but I think even then it's an impressive amount of work that you've produced within that. And I really loved how your graphic style matches your presentation. Like as you were talking about it, you can see through the style of presentation and through the imagery what you're trying to communicate, and the story behind it. I think that was really clear.
And Beck, was it just you that entered this?
Just me, yeah. I study externally, so it makes it a bit tricky to make friends. I do these things to make friends rather than the other way around.
Well, huge effort, you know, for just an individual to be able to produce this in a week, in amongst all your uni sort of deadlines and things. So, like, massive kudos there. I really like, you know, like I've been to Perth. I know that the colonial history there with the architecture is quite strong and, you know, like resonant with WA there, and I can see that, you know, that's really come through in this, which I think's fantastic. It sort of, you know, really tells a story of that city, and I love how you've kind of, like, you know, you've played with literally like sky hooks, and how you would navigate like a new world as such, and you've told it really well with the use of color again, just to kind of, you know, relay that kind of messaging through your storytelling as well.
And you can see, I think in the first slide, certainly if you go to that, it's, yeah, that sort of really interesting play between, you know, that idea of the colonization and the obviously the housing issue. You probably were trying to touch on that, and, you know, that importance of, I guess, land rights and the colonization and the aspect of that with the stillful, and having that contrast again with the playfulness and the fun aspect of, you know, the neon lights and the darkness, and sort of, you know, helping people navigate, you know, that new world with, you know, all of these different elements. So yeah, it's a great playful outcome, and I really enjoyed, yeah, listening to you talk about that, Beck. So thank you.
Well done. Huge effort. All right, so now we're going to go into the breakout rooms, Chloe, Joel, and I, and we'll spend just 10 minutes looking at what you guys have presented today. It was really valuable for us to hear the presentations on top of seeing the submissions. So yeah, you'll hear back from us in 10 minutes. Don't leave. We'll be right back. Katie, I think we're going into breakout rooms. Is that right?
Yep, just about to do it now.
Awesome. Thank you. Well done, everyone who's presented.
Yeah, fantastic job.
Amazing work.
Oh, absolutely incredible. You can tell everyone had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And well done to all the runners up too, who I'm sure are maybe sitting in the audience.
Yeah, that was...
Or even participants. Yeah, thank you everyone for your efforts. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely, everyone, and the mentors along the way, all the volunteers. It's just been a fantastic event, and it's so great to see that, you know, this is a continuation, and it's been going on for years, and I can see that it'll keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
See you
we'll
guys
be back.
soon.
See you.
Zoom karaoke? What? I've heard that.
Yeah, we're trying to get music. Just get the vibe.
Sorry to intrude. So we have come back, and we just want to say thank you to everyone who's participated. You've done a great job. And just a reminder that the winner of Super Studio will take home a grand prize of $3,000 thanks to Azlan, and have their project featured in the upcoming edition of Architecture Australia. So Chloe and Joel, did you want to
Yeah,
announce?
just wanted to start to just thank everyone that you know, I guess was involved with this whole process, from the volunteers to all the entrants, regardless if you know you got through as shortlisted or not. I think, like I've been saying with all the talks and everything from the beginning, these opportunities are quite rare in our kind of our studies, but I think it's a really great way to pick up new tools and new ways of exploring how you you know, convey your messages to clients for the future, as well as just identifying your skill set, and that collaborative effort that you know takes that you know these kind of projects take on, because when you get to the real world, you are you know relying on each other to get through, you know, and bring, I guess, these you know stories into reality. So well done, everyone. You know, it was really tough. We spent a little bit longer in the deliberations than we thought. So the presentations today really helped.
And again, I just want to thank, you know, the Institute for inviting both Joel and I to be the creative directors this year. We put a lot of effort into it, and we've had a lot of fun creating this with Senlina, but also we've had even more fun and I guess more reward in seeing how all of the students across Australia have actually responded to, you know, what we created, and the different ways in which you guys did respond, you know, from everyone in every state, all throughout, you know, up to the finalists and the runner-up. So yeah, it's just been fantastic to kind of follow your stories, even on socials. It's like tagging us, and yeah, it's been fantastic to see through the Sona groups.
We honestly, we don't want it to end.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been so fun. And yes, we tried to up the ante a little bit this year and provide like a very unique brief, so that everyone could you know be the author and creator
of their own response.
Yeah, so highly commend everyone for taking that on board, and you know obviously having a lot of fun, you know, bringing your stories together. Can I just get across the board? Did everyone have a good time, and you know lots of sleepless nights trying to pull this all together? Yep, fair few nods there.
That's great.
Good to see. All right.
So, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the
Yes.
winner of the 2025 Super Studio is False Idols from Tassie. Well done, guys. Congrats. Chloe and Joel, I think we have a jury citation for them.
Yeah, so False Idols delivers a whimsical, original take on the monolith condition, winning us over from the very first page. Its concept is imaginative yet grounded, exploring the monolith's spatial and systemic influence across both Sydney and Hobart.
The dual city framing feels almost real, at times verging on a dystopian reality. While the second page narrative lacks some atmospheric depth, the work remains compelling in its scope and execution, thoughtfully considered across scales. It challenges us to see the monolith not as just an object, but as a catalyst for transformation, narrative, critical reflection in diverse urban contexts. Well done, team.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone.
Yeah, I suppose just to say, we kind of spoke about it in a little break, but everyone's submissions were actually incredible.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at how good everyone's were. Even locally here, and I imagine it's the same in all the other
Really
states.
high bar.
Just overall, every year,
Very
this
high caliber.
thing seems to get crazier and crazier. And I think this brief in particular kind of brought out a lot of personality and madness from all the people. So yeah, big thank you and congratulations to everybody.
It's
Maybe,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
Just yeah, thank you a lot. And yeah, I've completely forgot what I was going to say. Yeah,
my fault. Well, you all look like architects, that's for sure.
We dress the part.
Yeah.
Maybe just for everyone in the room, if you could just, you know, I guess, tell us a little bit about how the story unfolded, where the ideas were kind of, you know, began and how you continued that.
Yeah, so I suppose at the core, we were kind of just thinking, we kind of leaned heavily into what would the actual effect be like. And we sort of started with what would, you know, we do if all of a sudden we woke up and there was this giant monolithic presence. And then we kind of, from that, we sort of, what would other people do? And then I suppose the dystopian
we'll
dragged us under.
We're sort of thinking about architecture as a reactionary kind of process, and sort of similar things that happen like in the movie Stalker that was mentioned in the brief, with this sort of sudden appearance of this thing that's affecting a lot of people in different ways, and there's different responses to that. So we just really wanted to weave some stories that are very context based and kind of just follow that natural process. I think in the initial reading of the brief that you guys did, it was sort of like kind of going on an instinct or an intuition about this design, and that's sort of what we tried to do. But yeah, we'll follow on it to the next reading. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what really stood out to us was that you addressed pretty much all the aspects of the kind of criteria. So although we kind of said, you know, find a particular thing that resonates with you and follow that through, which a lot of you know, the shortlist winners did do. I feel like you guys kind of, you know, really took on board each one of those aspects of the criteria.
So you looked at the anchor, you looked at the still fall, and you looked at that kind of cohesively. You didn't look at those as individual aspects or you know, atmospheres. You're looking at them sort of holistically and how that sort of worked together to create that response. So yeah, that was great to see.
And the power of the still fall as well. You know, I thought it was really quite unique in how you kind of, you know, like with the developer aspect, you know, the gazing into the still fall and all that was, you know, really cool how you kind of explored that. And then I guess how, you know, Hobart also kind of ritualized that, you know, the kind of like polar opposite cities in a way, culturally, and how that sort of, you know, I guess matched that kind of context was really fun and unique. And you created an architecture as well.
Yeah, it's not something that we asked for, you know, and it's obviously not something that we were pushing people or, you know, trying to persuade people to do, even though this is an architectural based competition. Yeah, it was interesting. You had created those forms, you know, architecturally on top of, you know, ornate and embellished.
Yeah, even how you kind of like followed the still fall, how it progressed and things.
Yeah,
so
using the 0.3 gravity, you know, criteria. Yeah, that was quite interesting.
So I think that's something that definitely kind of surprised us in all that too, is like actually creating an architecture, you know, which was, I guess, again, unique with your entry. So,
but it was very close and very tricky to try and separate, you know, like, yeah, the winners from the second and the third, and yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah, for sure. Selena, did you have anything more to add to that?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say it was really impressive to see the contextual response and the depth to which you addressed that in both cities. And just sort of how those rituals as a systemic response was covered. There was the architectural response, but then the influence of that across the scale of the city was really well delivered. And I think the ways that you explored that in these different patterns makes it really believable. Riffing off things and concepts, ideas, systems that are already existing, and then twisting that to create a kind of dystopic reality made it really compelling. So well done.
The one comment I will make is the second slide didn't need that amount of text. You know, that was kind of, I guess, you know, a little bit of a notch down on you know, the thing as a whole. Of course, it's, you know, important information and whatever else, and you wanted to convey a lot of that. But I feel like just through the imagery alone, that, you know, like spoke a lot to us. So that's just a little bit of feedback there. But I think, again, it was really unique. Like, we were able to understand that, you know, this text sat with this this image through the use of color. And then just across the board for everyone that entered, I think you really did listen to, you know, the talks. It's really evident with the presentation. So not only the brief, like it's evident that you all attended those or rewatched them, because we can see that, you know, like that limited, I guess, use of color and restraint in the power of the image to really attract us as, you know, on the other side.
As the audience.
Yeah.
So and stripping back, you know, that amount of information to really convey what you're wanting to convey, through minimalistic, you know, expression is, you can really tell a lot of time went into teasing that out and refining that. So that was great to see.
So I hope just in that process that everyone's kind of obtained maybe some new tools in how they present not only their uni work, but moving forward,
into
you know,
their careers.
Just quick ways of visually sort of getting your ideas through. All right.
I just realized I wasn't sharing my screen. I had animations for the winning team, so sorry about that. But okay. Thank you everyone for your dedication and passion. It takes a lot of mental juggling and time management to pull off everything that you've done. Super Studio is so enriching for how you work together as teams, but also the connections you make with the Institute, people in the industry. And so from the perspective of people who had previously participated as well, it's really rewarding to see the depths to which you took the brief. And the responses were so abstract but also comprehensive at the same time. It's just what a challenging brief. So well done, everyone. All the state winners will receive their prizes from the Institute, and you'll be contacted by the Institute. And thank you again, Auspex, for your support. Super Studio wouldn't be possible without you guys. And I hope you enjoyed all the presentations today. Well done, everyone. Please feel free to share with us as well any highlights, feedback. We'd love to see how this can be improved as well for future competitions. And that officially concludes Super Studio 2025. A huge congratulations to everyone, and especially to Team Effort for the national winner. And thank you again to my co-creative directors and, of course, the Institute, Katie and Claudia, for all your hard work.
And thank you, Senlina. For all your hard work while you're at uni.
Thanks
guys.
everyone.
You can all rest and, you know,
go back to uni.
Go back to uni or whatever you got to do.
Go back to work. Well done. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chloe. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, Senlina.
Thanks, Senlina.
Thank you.
Good weekend.